we have to continue to move forward, to spring forward in our faith, in our learning, in everything that we have, and everything that we know. We can always grow. We can always have room for improvement.
Those same practices that you live during Lent, like don't only leave them for Lent. Expand on that, like, and do it year round. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Short Journey Podcast. My name is Edwin.
And my name is Antonio.
And today we're going to go over Lent. So what is Lent and why we practice it? And I think, we've been talking a little bit about Lent the past couple of days or past month or so.
Yeah, I've had a lot of situations or conversations about what is Lent. So I've had to explain it quite a bit this year.
Yeah, and it's one of those topics that is really going around. And I mean, obviously we're in Lent, so it should be.
But you still be surprised that a lot of people don't know what Lent is. Obviously, I mean, the Catholic faith is not the only ones that participate in Lent. But Lent, the word Lent is it comes from the word to lengthen, to spring. So we're going to spring. It is in the time of spring that we do Lent also, and Easter is in spring. But spring up from our old life and spring into a new life. So spring up to lengthen and to Lent, basically.
Or spring forward as well.
Spring forward.
Yeah, kind of like when they do the time savings thing, daylight savings time, where they're like, how do you do your clock? So it's like fall backwards, you move your clock back, or spring forward, so you move forward. Kind of.
See, that's I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah. So it's like, I guess spring would be like when we're springing forward. In this case, we're springing forward to Jesus' resurrection. Yeah. So we're moving forward to that.
I personally like it a little better in Spanish, which is cuaresma. So cuarenta, 40. So and it's a little bit more accurate with the translation from Latin, but Lent works all right. Why do we practice Lent?
So the simple answer, the reason for Lent is for preparation, and I don't know if you want to give a broader explanation, but I know, and like all the other times during the liturgical year, we're always preparing. So like we've got Advent, and like moments where we're preparing for Jesus coming, right? And in this case, Lent, we practice it because it's kind of like a solemn way of us like reviewing our lives and seeing how we can improve and how we can prepare for Jesus' resurrection.
Yeah, and it's for 40 days. So that's what I was saying. Cuaresma in Spanish, it's 40 days. So the 40 days is big in the Bible. It's
the number 40.
The number 40. The number 40 is very significant, and it means a time of purification and a time of preparation. So how many days and nights did it rain in Noah's time? So it was 40 days, 40 nights of rain. It purified the earth, and it brought new life. 40 years, it took the Israelites 40 years to get from captivity in Egypt to the Promised Land. 40 years of preparation, of purification, because if they would have made it maybe even sooner than that, they wouldn't have been prepared. Yeah. You saw how they were coming up with some weird things and weird practices, worshiping weird gods. So that 40 years of preparation to prepare them for the Promised Land. And
it's
then
almost like a cleansing, no? Like
cleansing,
getting rid of things that you don't need or things that are distracting.
Yeah. And then 40 days that Jesus was in the desert in preparation for his ministry. Also, you have the reference for women after they give birth. They have a purification of 40 days to purify, after giving birth. So that number is very significant in the Bible. And so we have 40 days, which is 40 days excluding Sundays. It's going to be either 43 or 46 days, depending on when you start counting and when you stop counting. But it's 40 days in general.
Yeah. If you want to be technical, it's more, but 40 days. We're going to go with 40.
Yeah. So this time of preparation, this is to purify our souls, our lives,
Mm-hmm.
to purify and to prepare us for the big celebration, which is
Yeah.
what's at the end of Lent.
It's Jesus' resurrection, which is the big day, Easter,
Yeah, Easter, Pascua, Passover. So
Passover.
this is what we're celebrating, the greatest celebration of all the year, all the liturgical year. So, like you said, in preparation for a party, you always have to prepare. You first,
Yeah.
you got to start off cleaning the house. Oh, I got to clean the house,
Mm-hmm.
clean the room. I got to put up decorations in preparation for
Yeah.
the big party, for the big
Yeah.
celebration. So it's the same way during Lent. We have to prepare for the big party, which is
Yeah.
Jesus coming, Jesus' resurrection,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to prepare for that.
Yeah, his victory over death. So,
Yeah.
and it's actually interesting you mentioned that that analogy of the preparing for a party, because like let's say when we have someone coming over as well. Let's say you're gonna have someone visit your house, and you're not gonna leave your house like all like messy and trash all over the place. And no, you're gonna prepare. You're gonna oh, we gotta get rid of that's been sitting there for like forever. We gotta get rid of that. Throw it out. We don't need this. We don't use this anymore. Let's get rid of it. So if we do that for someone that's going to visit our house, why don't we prepare ourselves, prepare our minds, prepare our hearts for Jesus' resurrection, and on Easter, and prepare for that moment. And like, oh, let's get rid of this practice that has been getting me separated from God. Why don't I abstain from doing this that is actually doesn't help me, doesn't add to my life? Let's get rid of that and replace it with something that's going to get me closer to God.
Yeah. A lot of times we like to throw all the trash or sweep all the trash under the carpet.
Let's put it right under.
Throw everything, all the kids' toys under the couch or something. And that's kind of like covering up the surface. So a lot of times we get rid of stuff during Lent, or we abstain from certain things during Lent that don't really help us out, that are only kind of like covering up. Because at the end of the day, once that company leaves, the people that came to visit you, they leave, the trash is still under the carpet.
Right.
The trash is still under the couch. So in preparation for Lent, we have to, and in preparation for our life to become better Christians, we have to start actually cleaning, not just swiping all our sins under the rug, under the mat, so to hide it and to abstain from certain things that are only in the surface. Like I'm gonna abstain for 40 days from eating chocolates, from drinking coffee. But after the 40 days, you eat all the chocolate you can see, all the chocolate you can buy, all the coffee you can get also. So it's not really a practice that you quit or that made you even better. So it has to be a preparation for a better you, a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
So with this, how have you lived your Lent in the past years or even this year?
So this is actually interesting because I was kind of sitting down and really reflecting on that, and I was kind of noticing that I wasn't living Lent as I should. I'm not gonna say that I was totally ignoring it, but there were certain aspects of it that I was kind of just kind of going with the flow, and I mean, it could be life, it could be kids, it could be whatever, but I was noticing that, yes, maybe I am giving up meat on Fridays. Maybe I am praying a little bit more, but I've noticed that it's kind of been where maybe I'm doing two things, but maybe not the third, like, because, during Lent, we're called to, for abstinence and fasting, for prayer and almsgiving, but it hasn't always been all three, or it's always been kind of like half done,
We always choose the easiest one.
The easiest ones, yeah, the ones that are more comfortable. And I was noticing that. So this year we kind of buckled down and we're like, all right, no, we gotta do better, right? And that's the beauty of it, is every year Lent is coming, and every year is a chance for us to improve for the rest of the year. And so I'll go on kind of like what we've done this year, and I think it's really nice. As a family, having kids, it's gonna be a little hard. So what we've been doing too is, making sure we do our prayer at night, but not just any prayer, but actually open up the Bible and kind of like choose an excerpt from the Bible and kind of like a Lectio Divina almost, you read a little bit and you kind of ponder on what we read. So the kids are involved and if you have little kids, kind of involve them with that. So like what we do is like we give our son, here, open the Bible. He'll open it and then he's like, all right, point at something. So he'll just point at it and then we'll read that. And then we kind of like alternate, like, so tomorrow someone else would do it, and the next day, like maybe I would open the Bible, so stuff like that.
Okay.
And then we will read it, maybe read a little excerpt, maybe a whole chapter or like a couple verses, and kind of reflect on it and see how that, what message is that giving me? What message is God giving me through this reading? We also do our prayer, and then we end it off with, doing our, like, crossing ourselves with holy water, and like one does the other. So like my son would do someone, he would choose someone, and then that person would do the next and the next and next until like, everyone finishes.
That's nice.
And it's pretty funny because kids, they're kids, they're innocent. So he'll sometimes grab his little Spider-Man and he'll like cross his little Spider-Man with holy water. So I thought that was cute. But it's a way of getting your kids active in the spiritual life. I think it's really pretty. It's a beautiful thing, to get them active, and I'm not gonna lie, and he doesn't always sit through the whole thing. He'll be playing with his toys or whatever. But that's part of the beauty of it is like showing your kids that you're actually active in your prayer life.
Yeah.
Even if they don't practice it immediately, they'll pick it up over time.
So I guess that's kind of why you have to understand what it really means in order, because now you're like, oh man, I have to teach him.
Exactly.
So now it's like, this has to be very important to me in order for me to make it important for my kids.
Yeah. Like what role does it play in your life? And when they see that it actually is important to you, like they'll pick it up. Even if you don't want them to, they'll pick it up. It's kind of like when you tell your kids, don't do this, don't do that, but then you're doing it. So that's kind of contradictory. So when you say something, you also have to practice it, and and then they'll have their little their prayers and stuff. And kids thrive on kind of like a ritual, or like a schedule, doing something in a specific way. And that has helped out. Another thing that I've kind of been actually thinking about this, and this is actually before Lent started, the fact that a lot of times we'll say that we don't have time for prayer in our lives. That a lot of times we'll say, but I don't have time to pray. I don't have time for God in my life, which is crazy because you do. And one super simple thing, and maybe a lot of people could maybe benefit from this, something super simple that we can do throughout the day is like when we're washing our hands, do like an Our Father and a Hail Mary. And because, we're supposed to be washing our hands for like 20 seconds, 30 seconds or whatnot. So you could do a quick Our Father and Hail Mary each time you wash your hands. By the end of the day, however many times you've washed your hands, you've done a decade of the rosary, maybe even done a whole rosary, by that time. Yeah. So something that I had picked up and I've been kind of trying to doing it every time, that I wash my hands, and it does help a lot because in a hectic life, we've got work, we've got people that are around us. It's always going to come up a moment where it's like a stressful moment. So you have to step away and then get close to God. And that's one of the ways that you can do it. And just pray and do something really quick. And in that moment, you're in God's presence. And then after you're done, okay, let's go back,
So I've lived my Lent a little different. Where I remember growing up, it was a little bit more strictly. My mom would tell me, hey, it's Lent. You're not supposed to be fighting. Hey, it's Lent. You're not supposed to be doing this. You're not supposed to hurt your brother. You're not supposed to hurt any animals because we're in Lent, or Holy Week more specifically, or even Good Friday. You can't do nothing today. You can't listen to music. You can't do this. You can't do that, because if you throw a rock, it's like you're throwing a rock to Jesus. If you hurt your brother, that means that you're hurting Jesus. Yeah. So it was something a little bit more strict, but that way it stuck with me. It was like, it made me realize that something important is happening. Right. Good Friday is not just any other day. So I like that. Maybe it works for some people, maybe not for others, but I remember that helped me out. And then every year it's like how can I continue to grow in a different way in preparation for Easter? So every year has changed drastically. Every year is different than the last. And yes, we're called to continually to grow in our faith, in learning about God, in learning about the Bible. I know one thing is very common and kind of like tradition is to watch the Passion of Christ in Holy Week or a Good Friday.
Yeah.
And that's always helped me out. Every single year that I watch that video, I notice one new thing that I've never noticed in my life, and it's like mind blowing.
Yeah.
But how can we live Lent throughout the whole year, not just for 40 days, but after Easter comes, how can we live Lent for the full year?
Well, I think that it's almost like those same practices that you live during Lent, like don't only leave them for Lent, expand on that, like, and do it year round, and kind of focus on the things that maybe throughout the year will maybe get you away from God, and they push or they move you away from the path that's going to lead you to God, and focus on the things that are actually going to help you. Abstain from things like watching things that are affecting your mind, or hearing people's side remarks, or listening to things that are negative, and focus on God, and really like learn to discipline yourself, and really focus on things that involve God, and prayer, and going to mass, and going to holy hour, because a lot of that is going to help you become more spiritually active, of course, be in God's presence, and then slowly but surely you're going to slowly start emitting it to everyone else, and they're going to start noticing, I think. There's certain people where you're talking to them, and you can almost tell like there's like this peace emitting from this person, and kind of like I feel like, this is me personally thinking, is like we should kind of strive to be like that, where like we don't even have to tell anyone, but they can tell that God lives with us, that God is in us. And I think that's what everyone should strive for. I don't know. How would you answer that?
I think this preparation has to be year long. For your entire life, you have to be better. We cannot one day decide, you know what, I'm going to stop growing. I'm going to stop changing. I'm going to stop getting growing in my faith. I'm going to stop learning about God. That's just, it's kind of like working backwards. You know? We have to continue to move forward, to spring forward in our faith, in our learning, in everything that we have, and everything that we know. We can always grow. We can always have room for improvement. And that's our spiritual life. To not just make it 40 days, or not just Friday that I abstain from meat and give up certain things during only the 40 days, but this is year long. It's like you said, it's more of the discipline. Do I have the discipline to realize, oh, I messed up here and I need to be better. So I'm going to continue to be better. And just apply that to your everyday life and everything that you do. Be a better husband, be a better father, be a better son, a better daughter, a better friend. Like, be that friend that you wish you had for others.
No, of
that's
course.
it.
And that's really what it is, guys. And of course, there's more details into Lent, and for example, what is fasting and abstinence, what is prayer, what is almsgiving. But if you want to know about that, pay attention to the next video. We're gonna go more detail into that. But that's what it is, and it's really about focusing on improving ourselves, but also helping other people. So, but anything else that we want to add?
I think if you have any questions about Lent, let us know in the comments. And aside from that, like Edwin said, stick around for the next video where we will talk a little bit about abstinence and fasting, and why do we do that? That's the craziest thing you could ever do. Is it? All right.
All right, guys.
Pax Bonum.
Pax Bonum.